Classroom Management Theories, Part 2. Objectives. Students will be able to name various theories of the classroom management movement, explain some popular theories about classroom management, and identify which theory resonates with their philosophy about classroom management. Theory 4, Positive Classroom Discipline. The educators associated with this model are Dr. Jane Nelson and Dr. Frederick H. Jones. Positive classroom discipline. Positive discipline is a more effective way to change misbehaving students in the classroom rather than using punishment or rewards. The general rule of positive discipline is, with a sense of predictability, students can feel safe and relaxed. Discipline is not punishment. It is teaching students how to behave appropriately in different situations. 3 clusters of teacher skills are body language, eye contact, and proximity. Positive discipline is in contrast to negative discipline. Negative discipline involves verbal disapproval and reprimands. Corporal punishment involves severe emotional or physical pain. Alternatively, positive discipline is the practice of training or teaching a student to obey the code of behavior or rules in both the short and long term. Instead of controlling the behavior of students, teachers can use positive discipline to develop a child's behavior through self-control and making positive choices. Unlike negative discipline, positive discipline corrects negative behavior in a kind, encouraging, and firm manner. The focus of positive discipline is to establish reasonable limits and guide children to take responsibility to stay within these limits, or learn how to remedy the situation when they don't. Let's take a look at the full range of reinforcement and punishment options. Positive reinforcement, such as complimenting a good effort. Negative reinforcement, such as removing undesired or non-preferred stimuli. Positive punishment, such as requiring a child to clean up a mess they made. And finally, negative punishment, such as removing a privilege in response to poor behavior. Five criteria for effective positive discipline. 1, it helps children feel a sense of connection. 2, it is mutually respectful and encouraging. 3, it is effective long-term. 4, it teaches important social and life skills. And 5, it invites children to discover how capable they are. Please keep in mind that positive discipline is different from positive behavior support, PBS, also known as PBIS, which is a form of child discipline often used by schools and community agencies to promote successful behavior. They are similar and have similar criteria, but they are different programs. There are many types of positive discipline, and whatever technique is used to prevent or reduce misbehavior will only be effective if both the student and teacher understand the problem behavior and the consequence. The appropriate consequence is used each and every time. However you deliver the technique matters. It gives the students a reason for a specific consequence to help them learn. In most cases, using punishment or rewards is not needed, as the majority of the problems or misbehaviors can be dealt with using positive discipline. Here are 3 benefits of positive discipline in the classroom. There are better student-teacher relations. Secondly, less teacher-wasted energy or frustration. And finally, students recognize desirable positive behaviors rather than feel attacked. Theory 5, Instructional Management. The educator associated with this theory is Jacob Koonin. Koonin's first observation of an intriguing pattern in student behavior was when he asked a student in his own classroom to put something away. He noticed that the students around him suddenly followed in focusing their attention. He watched as the correction of one student behavior actually spread to other students engaging in inappropriate behaviors and resulted in a much more ordered room. He later described this phenomenon as the ripple effect. Let's take a moment to explore the ripple effect in more detail. A ripple effect occurs when an initial event spreads outward from the center to affect other people, places, or things in the larger surrounding environment. In the classroom, the ripple effect happens when you correct one student's misbehavior and the other students notice. When the other students notice the misbehavior being corrected, they are deterred from misbehaving themselves. Instructional management is teacher-centered and prevention-based. 3 key concepts addressed in this theory are teacher behavior, movement management, and group focus. They counteract mischief by keeping people productively busy. Let's take a look at what it means to be productively busy before we move to the next slide. Being productively busy means that they are working hard with a purpose. There is an end goal in mind. Teachers affect students' behavior both positively and negatively. Being an effective classroom manager means having clear transitions between activities, knowing what is going on in the classroom at all times, and continuously maintaining instructional momentum. Teachers need to focus on and improve their performance. So basically, the teacher is at the heart of this form of management. This management style isn't effective if the teacher doesn't have it together. In order for a teacher to have an effective connection between management and teaching, there needs to be good lesson movement. This lesson movement is achieved through withedness, overlapping, momentum, smoothness, and group focus. Let's take a moment to explore how these factors assist with classroom management. First, we have withedness. This is a teacher's ability to know what's going on at all times in the classroom. This can be as simple as making scanning looks around the room every once in a while. Koonin said that it was not necessary for the teacher to know what is going on, but for the students to perceive that the teacher knows. Overlapping is the ability for a teacher to, in a word, multitask. Being able to present a new topic while preventing misbehaviors is essential for a teacher. The concept of overlapping ties into the idea of withedness as well. Momentum is the flow of a lesson. A teacher must be able to roll with the punches in acknowledging that things might go wrong and being able to fluidly adapt and continue onward despite distractions and disruptions. An example of this would be a student late for the class interrupts or technology that is being used goes wrong. Smoothness is also highly related to momentum. Being able to keep on track without going on tangents as well as being diverted by irrelevant questions or information is important. Many times, a teacher can get distracted and leave one topic open and not come back to it until later, which can be confusing to students. Another thing that can ruin smoothness is when a teacher does not have a plan or course of action. It can seem as though the lecture is jumping from one topic to the next. Group focus is the ability of a teacher to engage the whole class using techniques such as building suspense or asking community questions. This can also look like asking random questions or asking a student a question and then looking around at other students to see if they are thinking or ready to respond. As classrooms become more diverse, teachers have to develop strategies for classroom management that honor and respect students from various cultures and backgrounds. So let's take a look at culturally responsive classroom management. Culturally responsive classroom management, or CRCM, refers to strategies that focus on developing a classroom for all students. Teachers use cultural awareness to guide management decisions about their classroom. Teachers also take into consideration students' backgrounds, cultures, home lives, learning styles, and past experiences to create opportunities for everyone's success. According to Weinstein, Tomlinson, Clark, and Curran, teachers recognize that the goal of classroom management is not to achieve compliance or control, but to provide all students with equitable opportunities for learning, and they understand that CRCM is classroom management in the service of social justice. So there are 5 ways to create a culturally responsive classroom. 1, get to know all your students as individuals. Students have unique skills and experiences that can enrich your classroom culture. Take the time to understand what students value as well as their strengths and needs. Engage in conversations. Give students surveys or ask questions on exit slips. Number 2, make sure your curriculum is culturally varied and relevant. After you have taken the time to get to know your students, it will be much easier to craft projects that connect to their identities and unique personal interests. With deep knowledge about your students, you will be able to present them with culturally relevant and engaging lessons. All students should be celebrated in the classroom. Include posters and pictures that represent multiple cultures, genders, religions, and nationality. Text and reading materials should be culturally diverse and represent authors from many different backgrounds. Present signs and banners in multiple languages. Number 3, be aware of your own cultural biases. Ask yourself where you feel you need to grow in terms of your cultural sensitivity. Although this type of reflection is often uncomfortable, it is so important. Just as we expect our students to be open to discomfort as they learn, we as teachers need to do the same. Reflect openly and honestly, and make efforts to correct any cultural biases you find. A helpful step for all teachers is to explore and reflect upon where their assumptions, attitude, and biases come from, and to understand that how they view the world can lead them to misinterpretations of behaviors and inequitable treatment of culturally different students. Number 4, seek input and support from community members. Look around your school and community. Are there teachers or parents and guardians who can make great collaborators? Tap into the expertise of other members of your learning community to help you meet the needs of your diverse student population. And finally, number 5, Make sure your students have choice to create authentic work. When students have choice, they feel validated and empowered to create. Allow students to use their own stories and experiences to make work that expresses their uniqueness. This will create the opportunity for your lessons to transcend cultural barriers. We have reached the end of Lesson 3. Here are 2 questions. Number 1, which theory resonates with you and why? Number 2, explain how you would use this management style in your classroom. Write your answers to the questions in the workbook. Really put some thought into your responses. Your thoughtful responses will help tremendously when we reach the planning stage of the course. It's okay if you like more than one theory or think you would like to use several techniques in your classroom.